guys, welcome! In this video, we're going to take a closer look at Kafra, the next hero class coming in ROM. Kafra is a hybrid hero class who automatically attacks enemies with her rotating stage, unleashing a constant barrage of magic skill damage while also providing healing and support for her team. We already had our first look at Kafra and showcased her PvE potential as a solo DPS in my earlier videos. This time we'll go deeper and analyze her skill mechanics in detail and then weigh in on her pros and cons in both PvE and PvP. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. First up, let's look at Kafra's core passive, Heartbeat Support Activate, and her core skill Rotating Stage. This skill is the centerpiece of her kit. Once activated, it creates a rotating stage around Kafra, unleashing 3 different spike maces to attack enemies and heal allies automatically. Every second, a small spike mace is thrown at a random enemy within the stage, dealing single target skill magic damage. Its damage scales with strength with every 5 points of strength, boosting its damage by 1%, making strength one of her most important stats. Every 3 seconds, the healing spike mace is thrown to heal a teammate with the lowest HP. Its healing effect is based on Kafra's magic attack, strength, and wit stats, and its value is quadrupled in PvP and GVG. The healed teammate also gains 15% final damage reduction for 3 seconds. This means maxing strength benefits both her DPS and support playstyles. And every 5 seconds, Kafra swings a large spike mace, dealing AoE skill magic damage to all enemies within the stage, equal to 300% of the small spike mace's damage. On top of that, it heals Kafra and all teammates within the stage for the same value as the healing spike mace. So while her allies receive healing every 3 and 5 seconds, Kafra herself only heals every 5 seconds. Her spike mace attacks don't really benefit much from AoE skill magic damage modifiers, since her damage is split between frequent single target hits and periodic AoE bursts. With the related star rune, both the damage and healing effect of her spike maces can be increased by up to 50%. The rotating stage lasts for 5 minutes and can be easily turned on and off. Initially, the stage has a radius of 4 meters, but every level of her core passive increases that radius, reaching up to 6.8 meters at max level. When the stage is active, her movement speed is fixed at 130%, making her immune to slow debuffs. At level 4 core passive, Kafra's skill cooldowns are reduced by 15%, and all spike mace attack intervals from rotating stage can benefit from cooldown reduction effects by up to 60%. This makes cooldown reduction one of the most important stats for Kafra, since it directly boosts both her damage and her healing output. Here's a list of gears and party buffs that can help achieve the remaining 45% cooldown reduction. At level 7 core passive, a Kafra package will spawn every 15 seconds near her while the rotating stage is active. If Kafra goes near a package, for the next 10 seconds, the effects of her passive, Love's Magic Spin, are doubled, and her next single target skill will affect all targets within the stage. Another important thing to note is that her signature weapon's Tier 5 effect increases her damage by 30% while moving. Combined with the fact that she needs to move to touch the packages, this means Kafra isn't a class that you can just play AFK. To really maximize your DPS, you'll need to stay mobile and constantly reposition yourself. Up next, let's break down Kafra's buff and debuff skills. First, Overloaded Support is Kafra's main damage booster and survivability skill that provides numerous effects. Upon use, Kafra and all teammates within the stage gain 50% movement speed, so she's a good partner for Saitama and Sunlight. The stage's radius increases by 3 meters, and the attack frequency of all spike mace attacks doubles. On top of that, if Kafra receives a fatal blow during this state, her HP will be locked at 1 and she will only die after the buff ends. And with the related star rune, it grants up to 50% resistance against abnormal and force status effects. The catch is that it only lasts 15 seconds and has a fixed 45-second cooldown, so you'll need to time it carefully to get the most out of it. Next is Professional Alignment, which allows Kafra to convert her attack attribute and that of a chosen teammate into one of 7 elements: Wind, Earth, Water, Fire, Holy, Dark, or Ghost. It also boosts the chosen element's damage by 20%. And with a related star rune, it additionally grants up to 20% physical and magic penetration. The buff duration is quite short, lasting only 8 seconds, or 10.4 seconds with the automatic renewal passive, and has a 15-second cooldown. In order to maintain 100% uptime, you'll want at least 30% cooldown reduction. Take note that after touching a package, casting Professional Alignment will affect all teammates within the stage, and if you'd rather not change your teammate's element, you can simply toggle it off. As a tip, this is the only way to change the attack element of magic classes. Her third buff is Push Kafra Takes Action, which restores the teammate's max HP by 10% and max SP by 5% every second, while also clearing 1 debuff effect per second. And with the related S rune, it additionally grants up to 20% max HP and SP. Thus, this will mainly help with the sustain of a teammate in battle. The buff lasts 10 seconds or 13 seconds with the automatic renewal passive, and it has a cooldown of 12 seconds. Take note that after touching a package, casting Whoosh Kafra Takes Action will affect all teammates within the stage. Then we have Take a Small Taste, which works as either a buff or debuff skill. When used on a teammate, it grants them 6 stacks of a random buff effect based on various 5-star food effects. When used on an enemy, it steals 5 dispellable buffs from the target. The buff effect that can be applied are as follows. The buff lasts 15 seconds or 19.5 seconds with the automatic renewal passive. It has a cooldown of 18 seconds, which can be reduced by cooldown reduction gears and the related S rune. Having a short cooldown would increase the chance of gaining multiple buffs coexisting at the same time. Take note that after touching a package, casting Take a Small Taste will affect all teammates and enemies within the stage. And last is Delivery Exception, which is Kafra's primary debuff skill and the only rogue-inspired skill in her kit. It summons a mini warehouse that latches onto a single enemy for 5 seconds, dealing magic damage every second. It also prevents them from doing any action, meaning that the target cannot attack, cast skills, or move, though they can still use consumables and switch gears. Every second they're trapped, there's also a 30% chance to strip one piece of equipment, prioritizing armor, which remains unequipped for 10 seconds. Once the enemy's armor is removed, other pieces of equipment will be randomly stripped. Therefore, using an Amdare card, which prevents the armor from being removed, also protects you from Delivery Exception's strip effect. With the related S rune, her target will also receive up to 30% more damage from Kafra. And just like her other single target buffs, if you've touched a package beforehand, Delivery Exception will affect all enemies within the stage. Up next, let's go over Kafra's utility skills. First, Storage Service lets Kafra place a warehouse at a target location which cannot be attacked. Kafra and her teammates can click the warehouse to enter it, gaining invincibility but unable to do any action for 5 seconds, with the option to exit early if needed. Hence, it can be used to protect yourself and teammates, or even bait enemies into wasting their skills. In addition, any teammate who dies within the stage will instantly be resurrected in the warehouse. The instant resurrection mechanic gives you an edge in team fights since it denies enemies the benefit of fully eliminating a target. In PvE, it can help counter deadly boss mechanics, especially ones that deal unavoidable damage. The warehouse lasts 30 seconds and has a fixed cooldown of 30 seconds which cannot be reduced, so it can be up all the time. However, after use, there's a 15-second cooldown window before the warehouse can be used again. And second, Teleport Service is Kafra's main displacement skill. After chanting for 1.5 seconds, Kafra, her teammates within the stage, and even the warehouse are teleported to the target location. It's excellent for setting up surprise attacks as your team can suddenly appear behind enemy lines. Defensively, it can pull the team out of dangerous situations. The teleport range is just 12 meters long, but it can even cross different types of terrain. However, just note that the 1.5 second chant time is fixed and cannot be reduced, not even with Elf's Piccolo. So you'll need to position carefully and bait out interruptions before using it. Finally, let's go over Kafra's key passive skills. First, Love's Magical Spin grants buffs to herself and her teammates within the stage. For Kafra, her skill damage reduction, and AA damage reduction are increased by 30%. On top of that, for every teammate within the stage, she gains an extra 2% skill damage. For the teammates within the stage, they will gain physical and magic attack based on this formula. Thus, the higher the physical and magic attack investment of Kafra, the more firepower she can share with her teammates. Take note that at max core passive, touching a package doubles these effects for 10 seconds. For example, if the whole party is within Kafra's stage, she gains a total of 90% skill damage and 60% AA and skill damage reduction, while her teammates enjoy sizable physical and magic attack boost. Second, Special Discipline mode enhances Kafra's spike mace attacks. Its damage against monsters is increased by 50%, which makes it very strong in PvE content. It also lets her ignore 20% of the target's race, element, and magic damage reductions, which means she can prioritize stacking other damage modifiers such as Ignore MDef, single target or crowd damage, and damage to players. Moreover, spike base attacks have a 30% chance to inflict snare, stun, darkness, or bleed status for 5 seconds, giving her a bit of crowd control. Third, Kafra Premium Privileges marks the teammate as Black Card VIP whenever Kafra uses a single target buff skill. For the next 25 seconds, all the buffs and HP recovery effects Kafra provides to that teammate are increased by 50%. This means the VIP teammate will get 30% elemental damage and up to 30% physical pen and M pen from professional alignment, up to 30% max HP and SP from whoosh Kafra takes action, 22.5% final damage reduction from healing spike mace, and 9 stacks of a random buff from take a small taste. This makes her a powerful enabler for key teammates like the main damage dealer or the frontline tank. And the last passive is Automatic Renewal, which extends the duration of all buffs and debuffs applied by Kafra, including abnormal statuses by 30%. Combined with stacking cooldown reduction, this passive ensures 100% uptime for professional alignment and take a small taste. If these effects are dispelled by enemies, there's a 30% chance that they will be immediately reapplied. To summarize, Kafra offers a unique combination of strengths both in PvE and PvP. First, one of Kafra's biggest strengths is her team support capability. Retaining Stage can auto-heal a teammate every 3 seconds, providing 15% final damage reduction. Whoosh Kafra takes action can restore teammates' HP and SP per second and dispels 1 debuff every second. Professional Alignment can change the attack attribute of her teammate and amplify their elemental damage and penetration. Take a Small Taste grants random buffs or steal buffs from enemies. Love's Magical Spin gives teammates flat physical attack and magic attack based on Kafra's stats. Kafra Premium Privileges can make one teammate receive 50% stronger buff and heal effects. Sword Service provides invincibility and instant resurrection at the warehouse. Moreover, she can give 50% movement speed when in overload status. Second, Kafra's Rotating Stage provides a constant source of damage that automatically dishes out single target magic damage every second and AoE attacks every 5 seconds. Even if she's under crowd control status or hiding inside a warehouse, she's still able to deal damage as long as Rotating Stage is activated. Overloaded Support temporarily makes her invincible and doubles her spike mace attack frequency, providing a strong burst window for clutch plays. And third, Kafra can be played as a utility disruptor in PvP and GVG. She can apply pressure onto enemies by inflicting abnormal statuses, stealing 5 of their buffs, preventing them from doing any action, and stripping their equipment. When equipped with Artisan's Hammer, the spike mace attacks can even remove the headwear of enemies. This makes her pretty annoying to deal with in PvP and GVG. But of course, Kafra still has some shortcomings that you should consider. First, her damage output shines more in 1v1 situations, such as in Komodo and Memory instances, but falls short in mob-heavy content, such as in Oracle and White Star Airship. This because her small spike mace attacks are primarily single-target magic damage. While the large spike mace attacks are AoE, it only procs every 5 seconds, making it unreliable in fights with scattered mobs compared to other pure AoE damage dealers. Even though Overloaded Support can increase attack frequency of her spike mace, it can only be up 32% of the time. Second, Kafra cannot be played AFK if you want to reach her maximum potential. She needs to constantly move around to touch the packages and maintain the 30% final damage from her weapon's tier 5 effect. She also needs to maintain good positioning to ensure that teammates and enemies are always within the AoE of her Rotating Stage. This forces a more active playstyle and requires continuous attention to maximize her DPS and utility. And lastly, the duration of Kafra's buffs are usually shorter than their cooldowns. Even with the innate 15% CD reduction and Automatic Renewal passive, she still needs to sacrifice some stats to stack more cooldown reduction to maintain 100% uptime. Some players might find it troublesome to select the right teammate and time correctly when reapplying buffs. If your team's carry is an Alenia, Kafra will not be able to reapply buffs when Alenia is mounted. In conclusion, Kafra is a flexible hybrid class that has strong built-in auto-damage mechanic while offering many team-oriented support utilities for the party. But to get the most out of her mechanics, you'll need to manage your positioning and timing of skills. If you can keep fights inside the Rotating Stage, she is excellent as either a secondary DPS that buffs allies or a utility-focused support in team fights. How about you guys? Do you think Kafra will enter the meta? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll also be releasing a full guide on Kafra's PvP support build in another video, so stay tuned for that. Please note the actual content may vary from what's presented in this video. Alright, that's it for this video guys. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed watching this guide. If you're new here, I would love you to consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down below. I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching and see you in our next episode.